Welcome to Forensic Friday,
where we examine the intersection of true crime, psychology, and the heart of being human in the middle of it all. Well, hello, forensic friends and bestie. How you doing?
Are you going to re-ask me that question? Is that why you wanted to record?
Absolutely. Here's what I just asked Nat, and then I was like, I need to hit record because we always have all of our intro convo before we even hit record. And then Gara's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So my question to my buddy Nat was, how overwhelmed are you on a scale from 0 to 10?
And I said 9.
A 9. A solid 9. I mean, you're traveling with the baby this week for a funeral.
For the first time traveling with her.
First time. You'll have your brother and your dad, which helps a lot, but it's
Yes, I think, yes. I don't want to be mean. I don't know how helpful Mason will be, but we'll see.
yeah, well, you know what? He can go get you coffee.
That's
Also,
true. That's true. And he loves her. I just don't know if he always knows what to do. Oh, that's such a cute mug.
it's honey. I have my golden retriever on this mug. Yes, it's
Yeah.
anthro. However, guess if it's decaf or full calf, Natalie, at
Oh,
8:15.
full calf,
Full
100%.
calf second cup.
Dude, why are you doing that to yourself?
Listen, let me tell you what happened.
I'm not staying up that late with you.
No, I know. I listen. I mean, like, I'm having
My throat is still sore.
no, I'm having a cone of shame moment. Number one, knock on wood, your girl did not get sick at CrimeCon. I don't know how. Everyone else did.
I don't know how you didn't.
I think it's my supplements that I take at bedtime because I
I
sleep so
take
much
a
better.
I take all the things too.
I know, but my nurse practitioner has me on like amino acids.
Oh my
Like I'm
goodness.
telling you, it's amazing. Jordan, you're a queen. She listens. She's a forensic friend. So the other thing I was telling Nat about before we started recording is today we had a bridal shower for one of our coworkers, Christine,
Uh-huh.
and we did a dance to Hot to Go by Chaperone, and it was pretty epic. I'm not gonna lie to you. We had pom-poms, the whole 9 yards. We
Yeah,
missed you. You're an actual dancer, so that would have been helpful for sure.
yeah, but yeah, I did one flash mob dance.
It wasn't really a flash mob. It was more like the worst kept secret because people kept saying things. Me
Mm,
being the first one who was like, "Oh my God, when are we doing the dance?" But Christine wasn't there. She didn't hear me say it, but I was like, "Oh,"
okay.
you know. So then, Lori's daughter, who's one of my favorite humans on the face of the earth, she was sitting with me, and then she kind of talked about it, and then Nate walked over and kind of talked about it. So we were like, "Christine, close your eyes." After she opened gifts, we went on the side of the house, got our pom poms. Mac held a sign that had all of the 8 counts because it was like prance, like like
Oh yeah, yeah.
pony trot, like
Oh yeah, no, I remember it. I vividly remember it.
oh God. And I knew a couple steps. I was pretty proud of myself because I didn't really have time to practice. But even Garrett got out there with pom poms.
Wow, that's impressive.
Part of that is we love Christine. She's a total goofball.
I know she's so funny.
She's so fun, and she is so good to Mac. When we're at the office, they always play. So Mac made her a card, and it
Mm.
had a Mario Kart on the on the front, and then in the middle it just said marriage with an exclamation
Oh
point.
my gosh.
Love Mac. I know it was really cute. And I talked to her husband for a minute and I was like, hey, she seems so happy with you, blah, blah, blah. Also, like, stay that way was kind of the message.
Right.
And he's great. I really like him so much. I think they're gonna be so happy. I've been working on this case for a couple of weeks. So this
Love this.
is one that I think most of our listeners probably heard about back in the day, but it is one that has stuck with me and actually changed a couple things about my career.
Hmm.
I will explain more to you.
Fascinating.
So this is there's a brand of DV offender that Nat and I work with sometimes called a family annihilator.
Yes.
And it's really dangerous. It's really scary. I probably first heard that term on like Criminal Minds or something,
Hmm.
and then learned about it way later in my career with DV because it's really kind of a function of domestic violence.
Hmm.
So this case is kind of a really complex version of that. So that's
Hmm.
what we're going to be talking about.
Okay.
and it changed policy a lot of places. And
Interesting.
so I think that'll be interesting to talk about too.
Good.
We are talking about Joshua and Susan Powell.
Okay.
Joshua Powell was born January 20th, 1976, to Stephen and Teresia Powell. And they live, I cannot say this, and you probably know this town, so you may have to help me with this. Puyallup, Washington? Puyallup?
Oh, shoot. I know it. Puyallup? No,
Puyallup?
no.
Puyallup.
That's definitely not it.
It looks
I can't.
it looks like Puyallup.
Yeah, it's like it's not that. I know what it is. I will figure it out.
Puyallup. Puyallup,
By the end of
Washington.
by the end of your case, I will figure it out.
What's funny about this, if it's like Washkiki Lake in Minnesota, I can do it. But this kind of stuff is hard for me.
No, I know. Washington has weird names.
Okay, so he had two brothers named Michael and John, and two sisters named Jennifer and Alina. They had a little bit of a dysfunctional issue in their family because they were going through problems with the LDS church. Teresia divorced him in 1992 after Stephen exposed his sons to pornography and refused to teach and enforce limits on certain behaviors.
Hmm.
So Teresia was like, hey, man, you're not a very good dad. You're not backing me up here. And she divorces him. As a teenager, Joshua allegedly killed pets like gerbils that his sisters owned and threatened his mom at one point with a butcher knife.
Oh wow.
Hmm. So I think that Teresia was, or Terica, it might be Terica, sorry, I don't know. That was the best part about seeing My Favorite Murder live is they butcher names and
Oh,
people
that's
fix it
great.
all the time. So it made me feel a little bit better because
Yeah.
I even try to look up how to pronounce them and I cannot figure it out. Okay. Joshua, did some weird stuff as a teenager, went to college at the University of Washington in Tacoma. And then he started a relationship with Catherine Terry Everett.
Hmm.
And they both went to kind of the local LDS congregation. They moved in together. He got a little possessive of her and refused her to visit her family by herself.
Mm.
So at one point, she went to visit a friend in Utah without him and didn't come back to Washington. She broke up with him over the phone. She's
Oh,
like, see you never. I'm with my friend.
that's not
Right.
a. That's smart.
It was so smart. I was thinking to myself, way to go, Catherine. You stayed with
Literally,
your friend, you protected yourself.
literally.
That is a very safe way to leave. We would tell people leave if you can, get out, do it safely, go be with people.
Do it on the phone if you can. Yep.
Exactly. Then he met Susan Cox, who was a classmate of his at an LDS Institute of Religion course.
Hmm.
I don't know what that means. I think it might have been a course, maybe even through the temple. So they met like November of 2000, got married in 2001 in the Portland, Oregon temple.
Mm.
Joshua was kind of described as like a business whiz. He worked for a number of companies. Susan was a trained cosmetologist, but she took a job with Wells Fargo when they moved to West Valley City, Utah, which is a suburb of Salt Lake.
Okay.
Let me tell you why they moved. They were living, after they got married, with Joshua's father, Stephen, the one who had exposed them to pornography, right?
Okay.
In South Hill, Washington. So Susan's father-in-law, Stephen, Joshua's father,
Mhm.
became obsessed with her.
Okay.
He would follow her with a camcorder. He used small mirrors to spy on her when she was using the bathroom, stole her underwear, read her journals, and he would post love songs online. In 2003, he confessed his feelings to Susan, who obviously rejected him and was like, yeah, not on your life.
Right.
Right?
Creepy.
Uh-huh. So then, once she went to Utah, she journaled and emailed about her marital issues with Joshua.
Okay.
So Joshua supported the move, but once they're there, they're still having issues. He was refusing to go to church. He was still in contact with his father, which pissed her off royally. Can you imagine if your father-in-law does all this shady shit and then your husband stayed in contact with them? That'd be a deal breaker for a lot of women, I think.
Ah, yeah.
He was spending terribly, property damage when he was upset, that kind of stuff. So then she finally wrote a secret will
Hmm.
explaining if she died, it may not have been an accident, even if it looks like one. She literally wrote that in her will.
Creepy.
Yes. Now, during this time, even in the midst of these issues that were going on, right? So 2003, father-in-law confesses his love for her. They move. In 2005, she had her first son, Charles. And in 2007, she had their second son, Braden.
Okay.
So even though they're having marital issues, they're living in Utah, they're not by father-in-law, and they have two sons.
Mm-hmm.
So she's got this weird will, all this crap's going on. December 6th, 2009, Susan and the boys attended church.
Okay.
A neighbor came and visited and left at 5 p.m., came over and left. That's the last time anyone outside of the Powell family saw Susan.
Hmm.
So on December 7th, relatives reported the whole family missing because they were all missing.
Like the kids
Hmm.
and her husband?
Hmm. Everyone was missing.
It was his dad.
Well, you just have to wait and see. You
Okay.
just have to wait. This one is real squirrely.
Wait. Is dad married? Sorry, remind me.
Well, he was married until his wife left him.
Got it.
When the boys were like teenagers, when Joshua and
Oh, okay.
his brother and sister.
Not because he told his son's wife that he was in love with her or whatever.
No.
Okay.
No, that would have been she left for less. Way to go, Terica.
We love that.
I don't like how you're parenting our kids. You're out. That was a real
Right.
good decision in
Yeah.
retrospect. Okay. But she comes back up later. So we'll come back to her.
Oh, okay. Oh, great.
So on the 7th of December, people start going, where are they? Why would they not be here? It's weird. The whole family's gone. Joshua's mother, Terica, and his estranged sister. So remember, his sisters are Jennifer and Alina,
Mm-hmm.
right? Jennifer is estranged from him because of how he treated their mother and
Mm-hmm.
because he was, doing crap like killing gerbils and all this kind of stuff. Jennifer's like, you're weird. I'm hanging with mom, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Jennifer and Terica decided to go looking because the kids didn't show up at daycare the next day. So they got really worried. They did a welfare check. Police broke into the home. There was no one inside, but there were two box fans blowing on a wet spot on the couch. And Susan's purse, wallet, and ID were found in the house. And her cell phone was later found in the family van.
Uh-oh.
So 5 p.m. that night on the 7th, the day after they went missing, right? It's been like maybe 24 hours. Joshua comes home with the boys. He's taken to the police station and he said he left her sleeping at home the night before and took the boys camping at Pony Express Trail in western Utah. So
I
the
feel
police are like,
suspicious.
okay, dude, let's check this out. Well, there's no evidence in that area that anyone had been there. He was very specific. They're like, okay, bet. Like, we'll go check it out.
Right.
In there.
No one was there.
It was also a blizzard.
What?
Plus, why wouldn't you bring your kids back for daycare? And he didn't notify the daycare. So it was weird. Weird set of circumstances, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had not told his boss that he would be missing work, but said he got confused and thought it was Sunday rather than Monday. So his reasoning for not calling the daycare and work was, oh, well, I was just messed up on my days.
He killed her.
Oh, just wait.
Oh my gosh.
So, in a second round of questioning on the 8th, so they questioned him on the 7th, they're like, hi, sir, where you been the last 24 hours? Super sketch, blizzard, camping, weirdness.
Not
Also, the
there.
kids were 2 and 4. I mean, these are little kids. You don't
Oh.
take them on a blizzard camping trip. It was weird.
No.
So, after he goes and talks to the police on December 8th, he rents a car at the airport, We have no idea where he went until 18 hours later when he called his mom from a new phone on Interstate 84 driving back to Salt Lake City. He later told his sister Jennifer that he just drove laps around the city and was getting on and off highways at random. And he drove 807 miles on that rental car.
Wow.
So the residence is searched and they found traces of Susan's blood at the home, with the kiddos and Joshua. And then they found a life insurance policy for $1.5 million.
There's always a life insurance
I
policy.
know,
Oh my
like life
gosh.
insurance. We went walking by the date with Dateline booth and we were like, life insurance. Like it's just always life insurance, right? They also found a handwritten letter that Susan had written saying that she was in fear for her life. So this woman, while she didn't leave him, she certainly left behind crumbs that
Hmm.
I go missing, it's him. It's not this is
Hmm.
not an accident, right? She let people know. So they found a blood sample from Susan and an unknown male. And then there was some
Oh no.
and then there was some real sketchy behavior. So here's what Joshua was up to after his camping trip in quotes, air
Hmm.
quotes,
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
blizzard. Okay. He liquidated her retirement accounts, canceled all of her chiropractor appointments going forward, which is just a weird thing. I mean, maybe he's just super stingy, but he just like canceled. He's like, can't have a no-show fee. I gotta cancel the chiropractor for the next
Right.
months. Like a moron. Withdrew the kids from daycare. And when they interviewed people that knew him, he had previously told a coworker how to hide a body, which would be in an abandoned mine shaft in the Utah desert.
Mm.
Mhm. Now, remember, there's little kids involved in this whole thing. Okay, so this happened in 2009, and the kids were born in 2007 and 2005. So they're literally like 2 and 4, 3 and 5.
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
right in there.
Yeah.
So Charlie, police talked to Charles, Charles, and I think they called him Charlie. They talked to Charlie, and he said, Mom joined them camping but didn't come back.
Hmm.
And then he told his teacher that she died. Susan's parents said that at daycare, Braden drew a picture of a van with 3 people in it and said mommy was in the trunk.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So December 14th, Joshua hires an attorney because investigators were staying on the case. And he figured out, oh gosh, my shitty alibi is not holding up at all, right?
Right.
So he stops cooperating and decides to move. So January 6th, he moves back up to the town I can't say, Pally Washington, and he's living with his sons, his father, who we are now going to call Creepy Steven,
Mm-hmm.
his brothers, and the sister Alina, who is still a part of that family, right?
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer was out, right? So Terica and Jennifer are not a part of this nonsense,
Right, right,
but Alina's there
right.
with them. Okay. So these knuckleheads, and that's about as insulting as I get, unless
Mm-hmm.
I'm mad at
Mm-hmm.
someone specifically, right?
Mm-hmm.
They decide to start susanpowell.org. They official website of Susan Powell's disappearance, right?
Okay.
And there's anonymous entries on this website. I shit you not. Defending Joshua and suggesting she may have run away with a man that disappeared around the same time.
Oh my gosh, these people are not smart.
No, I know it's not great. In late 2010, Joshua and Stephen claimed that they really believed Susan had left the family, left with this man because of an undisclosed mental illness. Okay. Well, the investigators keep going and they decide we got to stick with creepy Stephen.
Mm-hmm.
Follow the money, but also follow the creeper, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they get into Stephen's stuff and they discover 4,500 images of Susan including close-up pictures of specific body parts.
What?
So remember when I told you about my early forensic training, right?
Yeah.
And Lisa, our dear friend Lisa, who was on the pod, was working with me at this time. This was probably in 2006 or seven. Okay,
Uh-huh.
seven, probably 2007. And we had this training because we worked with juvenile sex offenders, and it was before all the board stuff existed and whatever. And so we went to some weird ass trainings at this place.
Right,
Okay.
right.
And Dr. Harl Hargett, who I adore, but he's also a lot, right? And I say that with affection, and I've told him that to his face. So if he's listening, hey, Harl. He had the wildest office. He had a fetal shark in a jar, and he had
Oh, you told me
clown
about him.
masks. And
Yeah.
he's my OG forensic evaluator. This is the guy. I didn't even
Mm.
know what he did. Now I do because I do what he did. But I
Right.
didn't know at the time. I was a little baby intern, and I was like, "Your office is weird, man."
Yeah.
But he did all kinds of stuff, and he was really amazing. He was kind of a nutty professor magician. I learned a lot
Yeah.
from him.
Yeah.
But anyway, he had this training, and he showed us pornographic images. He did not give us warning, which was unfortunate. They just popped up, but he showed us different images, nothing of children or anything like that. But he showed a few images,
Hmm.
varying degrees of like severity.
Hmm.
And a couple of the images would be like just like a knee, like a
Mm.
bare knee. That's it. No, not even not bloody, not taken off of a body, but just a knee. And he asked us what we thought the most dangerous, most high risk images were. And we were wrong because it was the knee.
Weird.
Of all the images, of all the sexually graphic stuff, of all of that, it was the knee. It was a part of a body, a very
Mm-hmm.
specific fixation with a part of a body.
Mm-hmm.
So that stuck with me my entire career. Like that imprinted on me as an intern.
Mm-hmm.
So when investigators, I'm sure they know this, right? They see this and they see these close-up images of these body parts and they're like, "Oh no. Creepy Steven is now crossing a line into like dangerous, super
Mm-hmm.
dangerous."
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Couple of other things start to happen. So they're investigating Steven. His brother Michael, Joshua's brother Michael, sold his car to a salvage yard and cadaver dogs alerted on the trunk. But the DNA in that car, in the parts really, because he abandoned his car basically, were inconclusive.
Hmm.
In September of 2011, Utah authorities found a possible gravesite, but there were no remains. So all this investigation continues to happen. And I think to law enforcement's credit, in this case, they really did try. I mean, they tried to keep it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the Powell and Cox families start having a massive feud, as you can imagine, right? The family's going, "We're not idiots. Something happened to our daughter. We know this wasn't good. We're going to fight for the kids," right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the judge had to order a permanent injunction to stop the Powells from releasing all of these journal entries because the Powells had gotten a hold of her journals and they were trying to paint this picture that she's mentally ill. So they're going into her old, like even some of her like high school growing up journals and they're posting crap online. And the judge had to say, like, stop it. Stop
Mm-hmm.
posting your wife's journal entries, personal journal entries online, you weirdo, right? September 22nd, 2011, Creepy Steven is arrested for voyeurism and child porn. And there were numerous women.
Mm.
Okay. Joshua was a subject, in quotes, of this investigation because he was living there.
Right.
He's close to Creepy Steven, right?
Mm-hmm.
Susan's dad, the ink was not dry on that sucker before Susan's dad goes, "We're filing for custody."
Mm.
So Susan's dad and mom were granted temporary custody of the children because they were going to force Joshua to move out of Stephen's residence.
Gotcha.
So they were saying, "Hey, man, you got to get out of there. If you don't get out of there, they're going to have custody."
Right.
Well, Joshua decided to sort of make it look like he moved to
Mm-hmm.
try to get visitation with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But Susan's family is saying, hey, we don't really believe this, right?
Right.
Jennifer, the whole time, his sister Jennifer, the whole time said, I think something happened to Susan. We don't support Joshua. We think
Mm-hmm.
he did something to Susan. And I don't even get me started on creepy Steven, right? Like
Right.
they were
Right.
not a part of this. His sister Alina waffled a little bit. So sometimes she would talk to law enforcement and be a little bit unsure about Joshua. And then other times she would say, you guys are harassing him, whatever. So she was back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
West Valley City, that was the area where all this was happening. They kept this case open even though they had already spent more than $500,000. So that's pretty aggressive from the courts to keep this open. And I appreciate that because there's a lot of pressure. And you and I know with how the budgets work in the state governments and especially in the cities and counties,
Mm-hmm.
it is very hard to argue to keep money in the budget for a case that's gone cold.
Yeah.
Really hard to do that,
Yeah.
right? So, late 2011, our buddy Joshua does his court ordered evaluations. So, this is when he stumbles into offices like ours.
Right.
Okay. Probably people with even a little more know how than us, right?
Yeah.
So, a clinician, James Manley, did the evaluations. Here's what James had to say. Joshua had adequate parenting, steady employment, no criminal history, no domestic violence.
Hmm.
But Joshua failed to admit any shortcomings. He's overbearing with his sons. He's defensive, paranoid, shows underlying narcissistic traits, and recommended that visitation occur. So he agreed with visitation, but with social workers present.
Mm-hmm.
So supervised visits, right? They had a hard time with this whole child porn issue because the child pornography that was actually discovered was on Susan's computer. And what police didn't know at the time was that content was actually from the previous owner of Susan's computer. Susan had gotten the computer secondhand. So
Mm.
Stephen the creeper was a creeper with Susan and a creeper with women, but not necessarily with children. But the
Okay.
police didn't know that.
Okay.
So they also order a psychosexual assessment and a polygraph. But there was no change to the scheduled visits with the kids.
Interesting.
Okay. So tell them what a psychosexual evaluation is, because we've talked so much about domestic violence evaluations, but what's a psychosexual assessment?
It's the evaluation for individuals who have sex offenses and who have
Mhm.
to be on the registry.
Yes. And these are far more intense than a domestic violence evaluation
Yes.
in the sense that there's multiple assessments that they do, and they frequently have to do a polygraph.
I was gonna say they usually always do a polygraph.
Mhm. And there are some interesting assessments, Nat, about what are they attracted to? Are they within a normal range? I mean, there's a lot of that kind of stuff. I mean, they really dig up your whole sexual history, they go into accountability, all that stuff.
Yep.
So while this is happening in the background, we've got the kids gearing up for scheduled visitation, and the Powell family is becoming increasingly frustrated with Susan's parents, authorities, and child welfare because they feel really wronged,
Right.
right? Stephen's like, I'm creepy, but I'm not creepy like that, right? Which is not a great, you're going to have a hard time arguing that, right? So at this point, and you and I get tagged in sometimes into cases, we try to stay out of custody stuff. I do a little bit of civil stuff, right? But we get tagged in when this stuff starts going sideways. The court's making recommendations, people are coming in to meet with us. People are pissed at their ex's family. Co-parenting is something we talk about. What are your thoughts right now, knowing that That's mom is missing. The kid's grandparents are pretty involved. What would you do with somebody like Joshua if he came in for treatment? And he's not overtly threatening to harm the children. He denies doing anything to their mom. We don't have tangible evidence. And
Well, do we know how creepy Steve is getting pictures?
Creepy Steven.
Yeah.
Uh, well, he had the camcorder and then he was using the mirrors, but I didn't see explicitly how he did it. I think he probably had hidden cameras and I think he was using his phone.
Okay.
Hmm.
That's so, yeah. Even when you said like close-ups, I'm like, how did he get close-ups?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons that Joshua was a party to it, is I think they were wondering how
Right.
deep does this run?
Like, is Joshua giving photos to his dad?
I didn't find any evidence of that I could find. So if y'all can find it, send it in.
Yeah. I mean, that was honestly my first thought was that
Yeah.
Josh was sending him to his dad.
But when you live with somebody, so think about even when we're all hanging out, right? If somebody's sitting there on their phone or they look distracted or somebody falls asleep on the couch or whatever, you can hold your phone up and take some weird pictures. And it wasn't necessarily like naked pictures of her, it was just specific. It might be a close up of a certain body part, or he might have taken a shot of her boobs, but that doesn't mean that she was necessarily naked,
Sure, sure. Oh,
right?
yeah, I get you.
I think some were because he was spying on her in the bathroom and stuff like that. But
Mm.
I think some of it was just a fixation.
So creepy.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, the biggest thought I have is that it's like a super messed up family.
He would be such an interesting person to do a timeline with to get his take on his childhood. Like, what does he think happened? Josh, yeah. If he came in for counseling, like,
Yeah.
we would sit Joshua down and we'd probably want to get a real good history,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
We would want to make sure the psychosexual evaluation happens because we don't know how involved he is or not in all of this, right?
Right. Yeah.
We'd
So
probably be coordinating with the social workers. We met so many cool social workers at CrimeCon, but
I know there's a lot.
social workers are like superheroes and they end up being the enemy in a lot of stories. And when they make a mistake, it's everywhere. And
Oh my gosh.
sometimes it should be because sometimes it costs us a lot.
Yeah.
And like, I've never met a social worker who got into this to try to hurt people. I haven't met one. That doesn't mean there aren't bad social workers, but most of them are really wanting to help.
I think most of the time when they get caught up in something, it's that they missed something.
Yes.
It's not as much like an intentional
No.
harming, but they
And,
miss something. And then when they miss something, it's really big.
well, and they're subject to the same biases that we can have as evaluators. They can have a bias, right? Just like anybody. And also they have massive caseloads. Like that's the other thing is we don't pay them enough. There's a ton of turnover.
Mhm.
And we don't have enough funding. So there's a lot happening there.
Yep.
Well, February 5th of 2012, social worker Elizabeth Griffin Hall called 911 after taking the children to a visit at Joshua's home.
Okay.
When she got there, he grabbed the sons and wouldn't let her inside.
Oh, I know how this is.
This is the part everybody knows.
Dang it.
Soon the house exploded, killing Joshua and the children.
Yeah.
And this part's I'm not going to get into a ton of specifics, but it is worth mentioning from a psychological perspective. They died from carbon monoxide and hatchet injuries. So he did attack the boys, but all three of them primarily died of carbon monoxide. So he lit this fire and that was really what did it. What they found when they, put out the fire and got in there was there were two 5-gallon cans of gasoline and evidence of gas on the premises and that it had been spread throughout the house.
Mm.
So he had taken a can of gas, spread it through the house, and then had a couple big jugs laying around. He told friends and relatives goodbye minutes before
Mhm.
he did this. He withdrew $7,000 from the bank and had donated the kids' toys and books to charity the day before.
It's horrible.
Yeah, listed his brother Michael as the beneficiary.
Mm.
What are you thinking over there?
That there's evil in this world.
Hmm. Oh yeah. And when we talk about, and we'll get into a little more detail in a minute, but family annihilators have a really interesting psychology because it's kind of like if I
Mhm.
can't have them, no one can have them, whether it's their wife or their kids or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they also don't really want to live either.
Yeah.
So
They
they
almost know that if I do this thing, then I'm super screwed. So they take control of everything.
yes, we control everything.
Mhm.
And I think about Koberger sitting in prison. And I think about, I mean, he's having a bad time. And but like they're in the vents, like, come out wherever you are. I mean, they are talking to him 24/7. They're having a lot of fun in there at his expense. And he's a germaphobe too, which I have a lot of compassion with people with OCD because I have ADHD with a spicy brain. But he's washing his hands 80 times a day. And I'm like, brother, you're in prison. It's gonna be gross until you die.
Mhm.
Like this is your lot in life now is just nastiness and emotional torture. So someone like Joshua is basically like, I'm just gonna take us all out,
Right.
right? So Charles and Braden were buried in Puyallup. I'm just gonna change it
I
up when I say
cannot
it.
figure it out. It's driving me.
Puyallup. If you're from there, please tell us how to say it. I really do want to know. This is where there's a memorial for their mother.
Hmm.
So they were buried where there's a memorial for their mother. Joshua was cremated. Um, February 11th, 2013, basically 1 year later,
Hmm.
right? About a year and a week later, his brother Michael killed himself by jumping off a parking garage.
Hmm.
Joshua's sister Jennifer Graves wrote a book, A Light in Dark Places. That's
Hmm.
kind of Jennifer's trajectory was, I think, to try to help people and wrote a book. Chuck Cox, the boys' grandfather, won the legal battle with Terica and Alina. Terica and Alina had the audacity to fight with the boy's grandfather, Susan's father, over her estate to
Mm.
try to fight for the money from her estate.
Wow.
Uh-huh. So Chuck Cox, Susan's father, sued Washington's Department of Social and Health Services and its social workers.
Mm.
In 2015, the social workers were given immunity, and the Department of Human Services was also given immunity. In 2019, they appealed it. The court overturned that, and the Cox family was awarded $98 million to the
Wow.
estates of Susan's sons. And
Mm.
then they also put laws in place to block parenting rights, visitation rights for parents who are being investigated for murder.
Mm.
And that's fundamentally changed our field.
Hmm.
This case, that's why the minute I brought up the visitation, you remembered the case, right? Susan's disappearance went, I mean, I think it got a little media attention, but what really got the media's attention was this visitation.
Yeah.
And I would argue the vulnerability of the social worker, which is one of the things that stuck with me.
Yes.
So in July, well, technically July 11th of 2017, Stephen was released from prison after serving 6 years. He died from natural causes 1 year later.
Bye.
So he served 6 years for his whatever nonsense was on his computer, got out of prison and died. He basically spent the rest of his life in prison or old at home, right? So, couple of things. Number one, have you ever done in-home services ever? I don't think so.
No,
I mean, I've
no.
known you as long as you've been in therapy, but I didn't know if you ever volunteered or did anything in home.
Oh, you know what I did? Yeah, I did in college.
Mm-hmm.
I volunteered for Boulder Mental Health.
Okay.
Had like this big brother, big sister program.
Yeah.
So I did do that, and I spent time with a teenager and would go to her house.
So, what was your experience of doing in-home services? Because that's about as close as
Hmm.
we'll ever get to some of these social workers who go into the home. And by the way, people like therapists much more than social workers. Social workers, when they get involved with a family,
Oh, they
they're
don't like.
coming into a contentious situation and it's super dangerous. Therapists, they don't necessarily love us having in their house, but we get a lot more room than a social worker does,
Right.
right?
Well, I was a volunteer, but I think for me it was you see into like the vulnerability of people and their home. This situation there wasn't like so it was basically a mom who adopted within the family.
Mm-hmm.
There was no dad.
Okay.
It was just a single mom with her adopted kids, but her adopted kids were like family members' kids that she took on.
Kinship adoption, where a family member takes them. Yeah, takes over.
Yep.
What was your role?
Just like basically her friend, the older daughter who was a teenager. I was basically just like a mentor figure for
Kind of
her.
a mentor. Yeah.
Mhm.
There's a lot of forms of therapy that happen in the home. So, multi-systemic therapy, MST, there's different kinds where the team or the clinician goes into the home. So, I have 3 or 4 times in my career been asked to do in-home services, and I've said no every time because to
Mhm.
me, I've never really felt safe to do that.
Mhm.
One of the reasons was this case. I'm a homebody anyway. I like to be in my office or be at home. I don't love being out and about. You know this about me.
Yeah.
But I something didn't feel super safe to me anyway.
Mm.
And then this case, when this happened, I remember thinking, our folks are just not safe. Even our probation officers go do home visits. It
Right.
just freaks me out. I just think it's just really an unsafe thing. I would not want to do it.
Well, and they always go together, thankfully.
They do, but still, when I think about
I
some of
know.
the cases that we've covered, it's just I just don't love it. It makes me so nervous. I wouldn't want to be doing it. And the other thing that I think about sometimes when I think about going into someone's home is that environment would be shocking to us. Probably some of our clients
Hmm.
would probably have a much more peaceful home life than we would expect. Like we might go in there and be like, "Oh my gosh, like their house is put together and they seem fine." And then I think some people that we really like and we think are doing very well might be a disaster at home.
Hmm.
So there is a huge benefit in getting somebody into the house to see what's going on. It's also the reason welfare checks are really good. They're not the safest thing for police always,
Hmm.
but it is something that we utilize if we're worried about somebody. I don't go driving over there myself because what am I going to do? But if
Right.
you send the police, they can check, they can, sometimes get in there and see what's going on.
Hmm.
But this case really was upsetting to me. And then when I was working with one of our mutual friends and colleagues, one of his friends was attacked in a home visit.
Hmm.
And that really stuck with me. And fortunately, she was okay, but she was, it was a really combative kiddo. And so it just escalated and got kind of scary. And she was okay. But
Yeah.
really, I mean, there's just a lot of trauma there.
Scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I've heard of situations where the parents will attack and try to take their kids, and
Yeah.
uh, it's sketchy.
It's sketchy. It's a scary position to be in. And so that's one of the things I wanted to look at. I also, and I think this is something that's been heightened for you and I since CrimeCon. We've always thought about survivors. That's not new. that's a part of every meeting we have
Mhm.
about the people that we work with. Everything is centered around victim safety. That's something Colorado does really well.
Mhm.
But when I think about a situation like this, I think a lot of women stay because they're afraid for their children
Yes.
to be with this person even 50% of the time without them there.
Yes.
They
I
just can't
actually,
tolerate it.
yeah, without going into obviously too much details, the very few individuals I've worked with who would be more identified as survivors or victims,
Mhm.
99% of the time, that's why they won't leave. The ones that I've worked with is because of the kids.
Well, and I had a friend in that situation and we talked and talked about it, and where we ultimately landed was 50% healthy is better than 0% healthy
Yeah.
because the situation had gotten so bad that it was not healthy at all anymore. But what a difficult decision. And I think if I sometimes don't think about that as much as I should, and I'm right up against it, looking right at these dynamics, I know that our society as a whole is not thinking when these women go back or they don't leave. And there's a lot of victim blaming in domestic violence. It's like, well, why'd she stay if it was that bad? And surely it wasn't that bad for that long or whatever.
Mhm.
You really have to think about that. Would you leave your kids with somebody who you thought might hurt them for
Mhm.
any amount of time? And the answer a lot of times is no. And if you leave, you don't have any guarantee
Mhm.
that that won't happen.
How it's gonna go, yeah.
It's up to the courts.
Uh,
So, couple tips, and this is something that I wanted to share in this episode in particular, is the power of emergency protection orders, temporary protection orders, if you're going to leave, and documenting the abuse, documenting patterns as
mhm.
you're working on a safe way to leave. If you need to leave safely, you've got to think it through. Get really good support. Don't leave notes sitting around the house. Don't email people from an email they can get into. Um, all of it. Like you just have to really be careful.
Mhm.
But you can, if you are being abused, if you're afraid for your children and you've decided to leave, there are a few steps you can take that make it a little harder for them to just have access to your kids immediately 50% of the time. And protection orders come in handy there.
Right.
What do you think, Nat? Anything you would add to that? If somebody's at home and they're listening and they're going,
What do I
I
do?
just can't, I can't leave my kids with this person.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say too much, but like I said, I have had people on my caseload in this spot, and it's I think one of the hardest things is they look to us to make that decision for them because sadly they think we know what's better, but like at the end of the day we don't really, right? Like I'm not in those shoes, and every situation's different.
Mm,
And so, I know the person that you're talking about, your friend, and in their situation, my hope is that long term, it looks really good for her.
mm-hmm,
And it already does,
mm-hmm.
but in some situations, it doesn't. And
It,
so it's more covert, right? It's like
mm,
sneakier. And so I even hesitate saying what I think people should do. I think you should reach out to support and if you have family who's close, get therapy, talk to friends, talk to, yeah, support systems.
mm.
I think that's where you have to start.
There's two things that we've been taught that you and I think about all the time. And number one is we've been taught that victims actually know how to stay alive better than we do.
Yep.
So what that means is they know the patterns, they
Mhm.
know the ins and outs. Now that doesn't mean they have the best lens about what to do necessarily, but they have a sense about how to stay alive in the moment.
Mhm.
Whether that's, you know what, I need to just stick it out tonight and just go in another room and play with kiddo and he'll pass out on the couch, or I need to please him in some way, or I need to stay home even though everyone's telling me to leave because I feel like if I leave, I'm setting something off. Survivors do have a sense of how to keep themselves safe
Mhm.
in those moments. And so what happened a long time ago before I got trained in that, I would think, girl, we got a safety plan. You this, and this. And they're probably looking at me like, that's real easy for you to say. That's rich. You don't know what it's like to try to get out of this door when he decides to stand up in front of it.
Right.
I can't do what you're asking me to do. Right. And so I think as providers, we've gotten a little more savvy about coming alongside them
Mhm.
when they
Mhm.
choose to leave instead of telling them what to do. I think it's real stupid to do that. The
Yeah.
other thing, though, that I want to say is when someone is making suicidal statements and when someone is using the threat of suicide to keep you in a relationship,
Mhm.
a suicidal offender should be viewed also as a potential homicidal offender. So
Absolutely.
that's where the family annihilation piece comes in. And so many survivors will tell us, well, I can't leave because he'll kill himself, or I'm afraid that he's going to kill himself at home, or I don't know what he'll do, or whatever. And they stay. And that is some of the more severe behavior we see before really bad offenses, or
Mhm.
unfortunately, lethality is when things are escalating and it's like, fine, I'll just kill myself, particularly if they're pulling a weapon out.
Right.
If they're pulling a knife out to their wrist, or if they're pulling a gun and putting it to their head and stuff, it just doesn't take much for
Mm-mm.
that suicidal behavior to turn homicidal.
Yep. Yeah. The impulsivity is
Yes,
really high.
really high. And the means are there
Yep.
to do the things. So
Yep.
if you're in a situation like that, please contact your local
Mm.
support services. Victim advocates are at almost every police department.
Mhm.
The counties have victim service officers. So, I mean, you can get help, you can get support, but
Mhm.
that situation is not going to get better. And it's not going to get better because he finds a therapist once a week. That's not necessarily going to make that better.
Mhm.
So get the support that you need. And if you need help finding organizations that can help, Nat and I can help with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So tough case, but like we learned a lot from it. I think the field
Yeah.
learned a lot from this one.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do remember this case. If you like if you're not someone who's going through this, but you see something that's weird or like red flags within like a friend or family member, sometimes they're too scared to say something. So ask them about it. They might not tell you. But
Hmm.
just ask them about it because it tells them that you see something that's going on.
Yes.
Um,
It opens a door.
yes. Yes.
And then don't force them to walk through it. How many friends have we? I know you and I both have walked some friends through this. And what it looks like typically is like, hey, everything okay?
Right.
And you're gonna hear, yeah, 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 everything's fine. Okay. Then you drop it.
Yeah.
Then a week later, they're looking a little stressed. Everything okay at home? What's really going on?
Hmm.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. God, why are you on my ass? Whatever. Okay. That makes sense. No problem. I'll leave you alone. No big deal.
You're
But,
hilarious.
but it's like,
I'm
I
more, I
see
give
you.
them the hairy eyeball and I go, okay, well, I'm here.
Oh yeah, no, I do
Okay.
that too, but I don't push
No.
hard as I did when I was younger because what I realized is when I push too hard, I isolate the victim
Hmm.
because they can't do the thing until they're ready to do the thing. And so it's just a little bit of like, oh, yeah, my bad. Things are great. That's great. And I don't, but I keep it in the back of my mind. And anytime there's an opportunity, I am sort of saying, I'm here.
Hmm.
I'm here. Thank you guys for joining. Thanks for hanging in there on this tough case. I hope that if this is even helpful to one person someday down the road in the archives, it is so worth it. You
Yes. Yes.
And I have a present for you tomorrow.
Woohoo!
You can post it. You're
You're
gonna like
hilarious. I laughed out loud when you're like, I'll give it to you if you come. I was like, girl, I'm not coming.
I don't care. You can't even. But my presents are good. I thought maybe I can get her. Maybe I
I
can get her there.
know. Yeah, no.
Mm-mm. You have so much going on. So y'all keep Nat in your thoughts and prayers this week. She got a lot going on.
I'd appreciate that. I still have a sore throat too, so
Mm. We need to be healthy. We need to honor grandma and we need to get back home safe. That's what we need this week.
yes. Pray for me with a plane. I'm a little freaked out about getting on planes.
Okay, have you heard all the hacks? Like bring a bag of candy and hand it out to the people just in case. Bring it. If she starts crying, you just start handing out mints or something.
Oh, I hear you.
Make some friends.
More about the fear of flying.
You're scared of flying?
A little.
Oh,
It used to be bad. It
didn't know
got
that.
better. Well, it got better. And then all the planes decided to be weird.
Yeah, planes are weird right now. And I don't know if it's just a confirmation bias because we've had some weird things or if there really is that much more happening now. I don't know.
I feel like we've never seen this many planes like catch fire.
I know it's not great. Watch your exits. You're quick.
I just get weird. Anyway,
You're gonna be
I
fine.
my anxiety's up now, so I should probably go.
I know.
Sorry.
Listen, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be
Eh,
fine.
okay.
So we will see y'all next week. And as always,
Bye, forensic friends.
I'm Janine.
And I'm Nat.
And as always, thanks for listening and join us next week for more crime, psychology, and heart.